Most people spend their whole lives waiting for motivation, waiting for approval, waiting for the right time. But let me ask you something. What if the right time is when you finally decide to take yourself seriously? This isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's about showing up for your life like it actually matters. Because the world doesn't move for people who hesitate. It moves for people who DCID. Today is the day you draw the line. No more waiting. No more excuses. It's time to take yourself seriously, like your life depends on it. Because it does. You are the designer of your own future. That simple idea, once understood, can completely change the direction of your life. Life does not come pre-packaged with success or happiness. It offers you raw materials. Time, energy, choices. And it's up to you to build something meaningful out of them. You're not a passenger in your life. You are the architect, the builder, and the caretaker. You decide what your days look like. You decide what your years become. And ultimately, you decide what kind of life you will live. That is both liberating and terrifying. Because if it's up to you, and then there's no one left to blame, and if there's no one to blame, then there's no excuse not to begin. Some people through life, like it's happening to them. They wait for someone to come along and fix everything. They wait for circumstances to change, for luck to appear, for someone to knock on the door with an opportunity. But the truth is, life rarely works that way. The people who succeed are not the ones who wait. They are the ones who act. They take ownership of their thoughts, their actions, and their future. They stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror. Because when you finally understand that you are the one holding the pen, you stop waiting for the perfect script. You start writing it yourself. No one can do your push-ups for you. No one can read the books for you, build the discipline for you, or make the decisions for you. You can have mentors, yes. You can have help and guidance. But no one can live your life for you. And if you don't take charge of it, someone else will. And they may not have your best interests in mind. That's why designing your future is not just about dreams and vision boards. It's about doing the hard work. It's about becoming the kind of person who deserves the life they want. Designing your future begins with clarity. You have to know where you want to go. You don't need to have every detail figured out, but you need direction. You need a target. Most people are just drifting. They go from job to job, relationship to relationship, habit to habit, without asking the deeper questioning, what do I want my life to be about? If you don't answer that, the world will decide for you. And it won't be pretty. The world has a way of pulling people into comfort, laziness, mediocrity. But your life is worth more than that. And you don't design your future by wishing. You design it by choosing, with intention, with discipline, and with action. Start by taking small steps. You don't need to overhaul everything in one day, but you do need to move. Get up earlier, read for 30 minutes, cut out distractions, make a list, track your habits, set goals, and hold yourself accountable. Every small action compounds over time. And one day you wake up and realize you're no longer reacting to life. You're creating it. That's what it means to be the designer of your future. It's not about control over everything. It's about responsibility over what you can control. Your attitude, your effort, your focus. Now, if you want to be the designer of your future, you must start respecting the value of time. Because without time, you have nothing to build with. Every minute wasted is a piece of your future given away. Most people don't fail because they're not talented or smart enough. They fail because they don't respect time. They waste days, weeks, even years, scrolling, waiting, overthinking, while life moves on. And then they wonder why nothing changes. The truth, Isaac, time is the most valuable asset you have, and it's the most limited. You can make more money. You can find new friends. But you can't make more time. Respect your time like a precious resource. Guard it, manage it, use it to move forward. If you want something, schedule it. If it matters, make time for it. Don't say you don't have time. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. It's just that some people use it wisely and others spend it carelessly. If you're serious about your life, you need to stop spending time on things that don't build you. Stop spending hours in places and with people that drain you. You can't afford it. Not if you want to grow. Not if you want to become who you're meant to be. Your habits are the bricks that build your future. And your daily routine is the blueprint. If your days are filled with distraction, chaos, and low standards, then don't be surprised when your future looks the same. But if your days are filled with focus, discipline, and purpose, even in small amounts, then your future will reflect that too. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be consistent. One day of effort doesn't build anything, but daily effort, even small, builds something powerful over time. Most people underestimate what they can do in 5 years and overestimate what they can do in 5 days. The future belongs to those who are patient enough to build it and serious enough to protect it. That's why respecting your routine, your schedule, your rituals, these are not boring details. They are the foundation of a powerful life. If you wake up every day with no structure, no plan, and no accountability, your potential will shrink. But if you wake up with intention, with clarity, and with purpose, your potential expands. You become more. You think sharper, you act quicker, and you grow stronger. You also have to respect your habits of thought. What you think about every day matters. The conversations you have with yourself matter. If you fill your mind with doubt, comparison, fear, and blame, you won't move forward. But if you fill your mind with gratitude, responsibility, goals, and belief, you start to shift. And it's not magic. It's momentum. It's the compound interest of self-respect. You start doing things that match the level of person you're becoming. You start saying no to things that don't align. You start showing up differently. And people notice. More importantly, you notice. Taking yourself seriously isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being committed to yourself. It's about showing even up when no one's watching. It's about keeping the promises you make to yourself. When you say you'll get up early, you get up early. When you say you'll work out, you work out. When you say you'll focus today, you focus. Why? Because you said you would. And the more you keep your own word, the more powerful you become. That's self-respect grows. That's how self-belief is built. Not by motivation, but by self-integrity. Speak and move with purpose. That is one of the quietest but strongest disciplines a person can develop. Most people talk just to fill the air. They speak with no direction, no weight behind their words. And they move through life as if they've got forever to figure things out. But when you start to speak and move with intention, everything about your life begins to shift. You no longer waste your energy trying to explain who you are. Your actions begin to do the talking for you. Your words have power. Every time you open your mouth, you are either reinforcing your future or weakening it. You're either building belief or sowing doubt. The way you speak to yourself and others sends a message. Not just outwardly, but inwardly too. If you constantly speak in uncertainty, you'll live in hesitation. If you always talk about what's wrong, you'll rarely notice what's right. But if you begin to speak in alignment with where you want to go, you begin to walk in that direction even before the results show up. There's something powerful about a person who has mastered their words. They don't speak too much. They don't oversell. They say what they mean and they follow through. That kind of clarity is rare, and that's why it's valuable, because it shows character. It shows strength, thought. The purpose in your speech is not about fancy language or being louder than others. It's about being aligned with your values, aligned with your mission, aligned with your standards. And when your words are backed by integrity, people start to take you seriously. More importantly, you start to take yourself seriously. You begin to believe in what you say. That's when you begin to see results. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you finally stopped wasting time with empty talk and started investing your energy into what matters. But speaking with purpose is only one side of the coin. The other is how you move, how you show up, how you walk, how you act when no one is watching. Do you move with urgency or do you drift? Do you start your day with momentum or do you snooze through your mornings and wonder where your time went? Purposeful movement is about showing up like your goals are real, like your time is limited, like your actions matter, because they do. When you move with purpose, even the smallest tasks become meaningful. You walk into a room differently. You handle your work differently. You treat your health, your time, your relationships, all with a sense of direction. You stop acting like a victim of your circumstances and start behaving like the creator of your reality. Purpose is not found in some distant place. It's built right here in the way you carry yourself today. This discipline applies everywhere, in how you train your body, how you listen in conversations, how you study, how you write, how you respond to challenges. Purpose is in the posture of your life. It's in the difference between reacting and responding, between rushing and preparing, between surviving and building. People notice when you have it. They may not always say it, but they feel it. They feel when you're grounded, clear, focused. And they feel when you're scattered, distracted, unsure. The good news is you can train yourself to walk in purpose. Start by noticing your words. Are they hopeful? Are they rooted in action? Are they respectful of your own dreams? Then notice your movements. Are you moving through the day like it's another throwaway 24 hours? Or are you showing up like it's the only shot you've got? Too many people speak goals with their mouths, but walk fear with their steps. They talk about change, but move in circles. They say they want success, but everything about their habit screams comfort. You can't talk your way into a better life. You've got to walk it. You've got to build it. And you've got to become the kind of person whose actions are louder than their declarations. Now, let's talk about another major shift in mindset. Stop waiting for motivation. Start now. Motivation is a spark, but it's not a strategy. It can get you going, but it won't keep you going. The people who get results in life are not the ones who feel motivated every day. They're the ones who've trained themselves to move forward, regardless of how they feel. They've decided that action is not a mood. It's a muscle, and muscles grow through resistance. Waiting for motivation is one of the biggest traps. It feels like you're doing something, planning, thinking, getting ready. But in reality, you're delaying your life. You're postponing the pain of effort, hoping it will get easier later. But it won't. In fact, The longer you wait, the harder it gets. The longer you hesitate, the heavier the task becomes. The only way to make something easier is to begin. Not when you feel like it, but now. Action creates clarity. Action builds confidence. You don't get clear by thinking more. You get clear by doing. You try, you fail, you adjust, you move again. That's how growth works. That's how belief is formed. Belief doesn't come from wishing. It comes from witnessing yourself follow through. When you do what you said you would, especially when it's hard, your self-respect increases. That's the real source of momentum. It's not hype, it's honor. Self-honor. And that starts with showing up before the motivation shows up. Discipline is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. And the truth is, no one is coming to do it for you. You have to be the one who sets the alarm. You have to be the one who gets up, puts in the reps, does the work. Not when it's easy. Not when it's convenient. But when it's needed. There will be days when your mind gives you every excuse to stop. That's normal. That's the resistance every disciplined person faces. But what separates the doers from the dreamers is action. Consistent, repeated action regardless of mood. The secret is not to feel ready. The secret is to train yourself to act anyway. That's where greatness lies, in the person who keeps showing up. In the person who keeps pushing, in the person who keeps building one block at a time. And one day, they look around and realize they didn't need motivation. They needed commitment. They needed a standard. They needed to trust that progress comes from motion, not from mood. If you want to change your life, stop negotiating with yourself, stop having long conversations in your head about whether or not you're in the mood to do what you said you'd do. Just move. Just start. Just take the first step, and then the second, because action fuels motivation, not the other way around. The more you move, the more you want to move. The more you create, the more you want to create. That's the cycle you want to live in. Not one of delay and doubt, but one of direction and discipline. Say no to excuses and take full responsibility. That's the moment your life begins to shift. Excuses are easy. They're always available. Life gives us plenty of reasons to hide, to delay, to quit. But reasons are not results. And excuses, no matter how valid they may seem, will never build the future you want. Excuses are comforting in the short term, but destructive in the long run. They protect your ego today, but rob your progress tomorrow. The sooner you let go of excuses, the sooner you reclaim your power. Responsibility is not blame. It's not about punishing yourself or carrying guilt. Responsibility is about ownership. It's about saying, whatever happens next in my life, it's up to me. That mindset doesn't guarantee an easy road, but it guarantees that you're in the driver's seat. It turns the page from being a victim of life to being the author of your life. When something goes wrong, you don't waste time blaming the weather, the economy, your boss, or your past. You look in the mirror and ask, what can I do now? Every time you make an excuse, you delay your growth. You hand over your control to something external. But every time you take responsibility, you take a step closer to mastery. Life is unpredictable. Yes. Circumstances can be unfair. Yes. But in the middle of all that, there is still your response. That's what responsibility means, your ability to respond. And when you master that, you start turning challenges into lessons and obstacles into stepping stones. There's a difference between acknowledging a challenge and using it as an excuse. Responsible people face reality without losing their edge. They don't sugarcoat the truth, but they also don't surrender to it. They adapt, they adjust, they find a way. And that mindset becomes their superpower. While others are stuck explaining why they can't, the responsible person is already moving, already building, already improving. Excuses love comfort. They thrive in environments where standards are low. That's why it's so important to raise your standards if you want to eliminate excuses. Set a higher expectation for yourself, not because anyone is watching, but because you know what you're capable of. You start saying things like, I don't miss workouts, or I do what I say I will do, or I'm responsible for how I show up every day. Those aren't just affirmations, they're commitments. And when you live by them, you don't have time for excuses. You're too busy building. Excuses often disguise themselves as logic. I'm too tired. It's not the right time. I'll start when I feel ready. But the truth is, if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll never begin. Taking responsibility means doing it anyway. It means showing up tired, trying before you're ready, and figuring it out as you go. It means trusting yourself to adapt along the way instead of waiting for permission to start. The more responsibility you take, the freer you become. You stop being controlled by your past. You stop being limited by your current situation. You realize that no one is coming to save you. And that's a good thing, because it means you don't have to wait anymore. You can act now. You can change now. You can become who you're meant to be, not because of someone else, but because you chose to stop making excuses and start making progress. Now let's talk about the next critical shift. Invest in your body, mind, and environment. You get one body, one mind, one environment that surrounds you every day. If you want to build a powerful life, you have to take care of the tools that build it. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through every experience, every opportunity, every challenge. If you neglect it, you slow yourself down, you dull your energy, you weaken your resilience. When your body is strong, everything becomes easier. You move better, you think clearer, and you recover faster. That's why health isn't just a fitness goal. It's a foundation for success. You don't have to be an athlete. You just have to take it seriously. Eat foods that fuel you. Move your body daily. Prioritize sleep. Hydrate. These small, consistent habits build a body that supports your goals instead of working against them. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You need to treat your body like it matters, because it does. Your mind is your most valuable asset. It's the filter through which you experience life. If your mind is cluttered, distracted, or weak, even the best opportunities will look impossible. That's why you have to invest in it every day. Read, listen, study, think, reflect, challenge your own assumptions. Feed your mind with ideas that lift you, not drain you. Replace passive consumption with active learning. Choose knowledge over noise. Your mind will reflect what you pour into it. And it's not just what you learn. It's what you practice. Discipline, focus, gratitude. These are mental muscles that grow stronger with use. If you want a better mindset, you can't hope for it. You have to train it. You have to interrupt the negative patterns and replace them with productive ones. That starts with awareness. It grows with intention, and it solidifies with repetition. The more you shape your mind, the more it supports your journey. Now take a look around at your environment. The space you live in, the people you surround yourself with, the energy you allow into your world, these things matter more than you think. Your environment either reinforces your habits or destroys them. It either supports your focus or shatters it. If your space is chaotic, it's hard to find clarity. If your circle is toxic, it's hard to stay motivated. You may not control every detail of your environment, but you control more than you realize. Clean your space. Organize your tools. Create rituals that prepare you to succeed. And then look at your relationships. Are the people in your life lifting you or limiting you? Are your conversations filled with growth or gossip? The people you spend time with affect your energy, your mindset, and your standards. You don't need to cut everyone off, but you do need to be intentional. Spend more time around those who challenge you to rise, who speak truth into your life, who remind you of your potential. Because your environment is not neutral. It's shaping you constantly. And if you want to grow, your surroundings must support that growth. Taking care of your body, mind, and environment is not selfish. It's essential. Because when you are at your best, you can give your best. You can lead better, work better, live better. You don't burn out as quickly. You don't get distracted as easily. You don't quit as often. You become stable, clear, and strong, not by accident, but by design. You create conditions where your best self can thrive. And that is one of the most serious investments you can ever make. Treat your dreams like deadlines, not wishes. This is where many people lose momentum. They treat their dreams as if they're optional, as if they're side projects to be pursued only when time allows or when inspiration strikes. Dreams are powerful, yes, but they're fragile when not backed by commitment. A dream with no urgency becomes a distraction. It becomes something you talk about often, think about sometimes, but never act on. And when too much time passes, that dream slowly fades into regret. If something truly matters to you, it needs a timeline, it needs structure, it needs discipline. You have to give your dream a home on the calendar. Without a deadline, a dream remains a fantasy. With a deadline, it becomes a plan. A serious dream is one that you schedule, one that you prioritize over temporary comfort and short-term distraction. The moment you attach a date to your goal, you shift your mindset from maybe to must. Deadlines don't just push you, they shape you. They force you to get clear, to focus, to act. They pull you out of hesitation and into execution. You begin to make decisions differently. You begin to guard your time with more intensity. You don't let your schedule fill up with nonsense because you know there's something more important that needs your attention. The dream that once felt distant now becomes real, not because the path got easier, but because your commitment got stronger. It's not about putting pressure on yourself in a negative way. It's about treating your life with seriousness. If your dream is to start a business, write the book, change careers, transform your health, or build something meaningful, then you must start by defining the steps and attaching real dates to them. And once those dates are set, you hold yourself accountable to them the same way you would to someone else. That's how you begin to take ownership of your potential. Too often, people confuse wishing with working. Wishing is passive, working is active. Wishing waits, working moves. And real progress doesn't come from more vision boards or late night inspiration sessions. It comes from daily effort guided by a clear direction. A direction built around timelines, habits, check-ins, and personal standards. You won't always feel like sticking to the deadline, but that's the test. When you push through the resistance, even on the days when everything tells you to quit, you prove to yourself that your dreams are more than ideas, they're instructions, and they need to be followed with purpose. You wouldn't treat someone else's project with the laziness you sometimes show to your own. If your boss gave you a deadline, you'd work overtime to meet it. but your own goals, your own purpose. You let those slide. That has to change. You have to become the kind of person who takes personal dreams more seriously than external demands. Because at the end of the day, no one else will care about your dream like you do. And if you treat it casually, don't expect life to treat it seriously. Build systems around your deadlines. Break your goals into weekly targets. Review your progress. Adjust your plan, but never lose your urgency. A missed step is not failure, it's feedback. But what you can't afford is to drift without direction. That's how years pass and potential goes unused. There's no perfect time to start and no perfect plan to follow. But the moment you treat your dream like a real commitment with a real timeline, you stop waiting for the stars to align. You start building with what you have, where you are. The next mindset shift is just as critical. The world takes you seriously when you do. People mirror your energy. They respond to the standards you set for yourself. If you walk into the room uncertain, scattered, and half-committed, you send a message that your ideas and efforts are not to be taken seriously. But if you walk in prepared, grounded, and clear about your direction, you command respect without needing to demand it. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. That's someone who has done the work behind the scenes and now shows up like it matters. When you take yourself seriously, you don't need to explain your worth. It shows. It shows in your discipline. It shows in your preparation. It shows in how you speak, how you listen, how you follow through. And people notice. They notice when you're focused, when you're consistent, when you treat your time and energy like it's valuable. That's when doors begin to open, not because someone gave you a break, but because you became the kind of person that opportunities are drawn to. The world does not respond to potential alone. It responds to presence. And presence is built by character, by habits, by a mindset of ownership. When you walk in like someone who's invested in themselves, who's not wasting time, who's doing the internal work, people pay attention. Not always immediately, not always with applause, but consistently, quietly, people begin to shift the way they engage with you. They trust you more. They ask for your input. They invite you into rooms you once had to fight to get into. It's not about being perfect. It's about being committed, being someone who follows through, being someone who honors their word. That's the real currency in a distracted, noisy world. The person who doesn't flinch under pressure, who doesn't chase approval, who stands tall in their own integrity. That person becomes a magnet for trust, respect, and opportunity. When you take yourself seriously, you also raise your own standards. You don't tolerate as much nonsense. You don't settle for relationships that drain you. You don't waste your time explaining your value to people who don't get it. You simply keep building, keep growing, and keep moving forward. Because your life isn't a game and your time isn't disposable. Every day matters. Every effort counts. Every choice builds or breaks something. And when you see your life through that lens, you don't need constant motivation. You have mission. Taking yourself seriously means showing up prepared. It means doing the work before it's seen. It means studying when others are sleeping, practicing when others are partying, planning when others are panicking. You start living in a different rhythm, a rhythm of leadership, a rhythm of consistency, and that rhythm becomes the heartbeat of your results. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you're more committed to becoming your best self, no matter what it takes. It also means setting boundaries. You can't be serious about your future and casual about your environment. You can't expect excellence while living in chaos. You learn to say no to what doesn't align. You protect your focus. You choose depth over noise. And you start to realize that the people who matter don't need you to impress them. They just need you to be authentic and disciplined. That's what earns long-term trust. That's what creates impact. That's what builds legacy. The moment you raise your internal standard, the external world begins to reflect it back. Not always instantly, but always eventually. You are the designer of your future, not someone else, not your past, you. And that means you must respect your time, your habits, and the daily choices that are shaping your destiny. Speak and move with purpose. Not just talk about change, but walk in it. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for permission. Start now. Because waiting is the enemy of progress. Excuses. Eliminate them. Take full responsibility. Own your results. No one else is coming to build the life you dream about. That's your job. Your future isn't built on comfort. It's built on discipline. Invest in yourself, your body, your mind, and your environment. You cannot lead a powerful life with a weak foundation. Fuel your growth. Control your space. Protect your energy. Your dreams are not decorations. They are deadlines. Put them on paper. Put them on your calendar. Treat them like contracts. Follow through like your legacy depends on it. Because it does. And remember this. The world takes you as seriously as you take yourself. You show up with intention, people listen. You lead your own life, people follow. You stay consistent, people respect you. When you make that decision to stop drifting and start driving, everything begins to change. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Take yourself seriously. Speak like it matters. Move like it matters. Live like it matters. Because it does. This is your time.